Hello my lovelies and welcome to today's video. Today we are on the Minecraft 1.11 survival let's play series and I'm excited because today we're building a church. In the last episode, we decided to take on another fortress, and I think we did pretty well. So in this episode, we are going to be making a church, because I think it's time that we fill in this village a little bit. So let's hop into a third-person time-lapse. Okay guys, I thought that we would try something a little bit different today. Instead of just 6 minutes of music while I build a church, I thought that I would talk to you guys a little bit for maybe half. So you'll see in this time lapse that I mess up a lot. And that's something I think people for some reason think that I'm like some really good Minecrafter who just knows what I'm doing, and that's not the case. I mess up all the time. Here I realized, I don't know, a little too late, that this is way too wide. This tower is gonna be huge. So I had to move it back, change the size, and I ended up with a size that I liked much better. And that's something that happens a lot when you're building, is you will realize halfway through that it just isn't working the way that you thought it was going to, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that everyone has like their own work style, and I always say mine is very messy. I take a lot of time, I back up and I look at a build a million times and tweak things along the way, and I think that in the end it makes for really detailed builds that I'm super happy with. Because if I just rush through something, I find that, I don't know, a day later I hate it. So that's just, I guess, a little bit of insight to how I build. I take way too much time. And even now, as I'm going back through this footage and looking at things, I'm not a huge fan of that cobblestone layer around the top. I really wanted to tie in things from my starter house into this church, and it just, I don't think worked. So I might go back in later and make it out of a different material just so that I'm a little bit more happy with it. You'll notice that in this time lapse, I do a lot more angle changes, and that's because I realized in the watchtower build that I wish I had turned around more, and it just wasn't as successful as I thought. And right here is an example of something that I do that I absolutely hate. I have no idea why I thought that white terracotta was going to look good. It's pink and flesh toned, and I absolutely hated it. But I wasn't willing to give up on the idea because I wanted it to kind of look like how the beginning village looked. And they had the clerics house in the terracotta, so I really wanted to tie that together. But like I said, I just absolutely did not like how it looked. So I continued this for a while, and very shortly you'll see that I scrapped that idea completely. And there we go. It's a mixture of wool and concrete powder, and I think it's much, much better. Okay, I think that's enough from me for now. I will speak with you soon, and I'll let you get on with the time lapse. And now it's time for my favorite part, and that's adding the variation into the walls. I very much am a fan of doing it in cobble first. I just find it a lot easier. Let's say, yeah. I find it a lot easier to get a pattern that I like. Oh, that does not go there. Okay. Um, so I find it just a lot easier to control how it looks. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's just what I like to do, and it helps me. I think that for the church specifically, though, cobble is a good thing to keep a majority of. Because for me, the cobble really goes well with the rustic style, especially if this church is supposed to be, you know, older in its architecture. And so I will add quite a bit of variation in certain parts, but I really, really like how it looks when there's just a lot of cobble. I think that it ties it together pretty well, especially because I'm going to do the roof in cobble all the way around the edges like I did in my starter house. So I'll do this all the way around, and then I will cut back when I'm ready to move on to something else. Okay, so final bit of variation is done, and I think that looks pretty good. So I think it's time to move on to the roof. And the roof outline is done. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, but I won't really know until I start filling it in more. But I think this is the shape that we're gonna go with. Of course, now it's raining, but I just wanted to show you that I've done the roof, and I think I like it now that it's more filled in. And I'm gonna sleep just because I think that you'll see it better without all this icky rain. Okay, so rain gone, and now I've added some glass panes and of different colors to kind of look like stained glass. It's not quite the effect that I wanted, but I like how it adds something to the build. And with a few adjustments, the build is pretty much done, so I think it's time to show you around. So I've added some leaves and carpets on the roof to make it so that nothing can spawn up there, but also to add more height variation to give it more depth. I've added some lanterns on little fence posts, and I kept them two different colors on purpose. I've added fences up above the windows, added some vines. The terraforming is in no way done, but it is started, and I love this little lamp that I put here. Inside, we have some little shelves and stairs, as well as carpets, of course. Nothing too fancy, just a little bit of decoration. And I really like the flower pots, of course. And I did all of this so basically I could have this bell. This bell is where I wanted it for the city center. And oh yeah, might as well hit it accurately. But I really like that. Added some chests, but really it's nothing special. But what I did add was some villagers. So I have 3 villagers in total in here, all clerics, because of course, oh, and of course it's nighttime. But it's a church, so the clerics needed to be here, in my opinion. So let's show you downstairs. Of course, I showed you the carpets. And these right here, these wood things, they're going to be barrels eventually. But I did not want to put the barrels in because I did not want the villagers to change profession for any reason, but they will get put in later. I added a little altar area, and there's a guy back here too. But so far, I really like it. I mean, I like the little hidden cross thing in the stone. It's just something I'm very happy with. I'm really happy with the choices of wood that I used and the variation. I think it just tied it all together. So now that the church is almost finished, or pretty much finished, we are going to do one more thing before the episode's over. If you recall, a few episodes ago when I was doing one of the raids, there was a kitty cat that was stuck on top of this little lamppost. And he's no longer stuck. And that's because we tamed him and made him our pet. And I thought that what we could do for the end of the episode is give this cat a special name. We're going to name him Roll Cage TV after my very first Patreon. So there you go, Roll. I hope that you like your little namesake. So with that, we're gonna end the episode off here. I appreciate all of you for stopping by, and I will see you in the next one. Bye! Catch your breath and you sleep now.